বহুছি হইছে ধার ধার আখিলু হমোর মানু নাহি মনা বহুছি হইছে ধার ধার পুরাণ দেবতা দ্রুত পদ্মসনে বিজয়া ছাজানি মানমোর পুরাণ দেবতা দ্রুত পদ্মসনে বিজয়া দর্শন পাইতে তবু সাধনা বিফল হেলানি হে ঠাকুর দর্শন পাইতে তবু সাধনা বিফল जप ध्यान सामो हारवानी लाड़ी जप ध्यान सामो हारवानी लाड़ी कृतुम कृपया जप ध्यान सामो हारवानी लाड़ी तुम कृपाए का भर करा आखिलु हमोरा मानो नाही माना बहुची होइसे धार धार पखारिब बोली तुम छंद पद पखारिब बोली तुम छंद पद অবিরাজতার অনির্বার অবিরাজতার অনির্বার আখিলু হমোরা মানু নাহি মনা বহুছি হইছে ধার ধার আখিলু হমোরা মানু নাহি মনা বহুছি হইছে ধার ধার বহুছি হইছে ধার ধার
বন্ধন মোচনা পূজ্য বরাম গুণহীন শেষগুণাধিপতি ভবভীরোজনে শত प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी उठा दिव्य सिंहासने मन कुसुम भूषणे उठा दिव्य सिंहासने मन कुसुम भूषणे अतुलन से रूप माधुरी की अतुलन से रूप माधुरी की हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी कुंकुमरा गे रंजित जे पद जुगल कुंकुमरा गे रंजित जे पद जुगल अमर भ्रमरे भाणे सत्य कमल अमर भ्रमरे भाणे सत्य कमल कुंकुमरा गे रंजित जे पद जुगल अमर भ्रमरे भाणे सत्य कमल अमर भ्रमरे भाणे सत्य कमल सती सत्य से बास सभे भीत सती सत्य से बास भक्ति सभे भीत श्रावण गोला से तनु मन निये श्रावण गोला से तनु मन निये हरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी ये प्रभु पड़े हेब तुम सरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी हरे देखी देले मन हुए झुरिकी गंध चंदन बिंदु ललाटे प्रकाशे गंध चंदन बिंदु ललाटे प्रकाशे नीति चंद्रमा से पुनैया काशे नीति चंद्रमा से पुनैया काशे गंध चंदन बिंदु ललाटे प्रकाशे नीति चंद्रमा से पुनैया काशे नीति चंद्रमा से पुनैया काशे तुलसी सभन तुम रुद्राक्षर माला बक्षरे लंबिची कंठे रुद्राक्षर माला बक्षरे लंबिची करुणा चाहाणी भक्त मन फुकिनुसी करुणा चाहाणी भक्त मन फुकिनुसी कंठे रुद्राक्षर माला बक्षरे लंबिची करुणा चाहाणी भक्त मन फुकिनुसी करुणा चाहाणी भक्त मन फुकिनुसी सुधा बोला मुखरू रंग बधुलिया धरू सुधा बोला मुखरू रंग बधुलिया धरू पड़ुछि की कृपा मधु झरी रे झरी पड़ुछि की कृपा मधु झरी रे झरी देले मन घुरे सुनीति देले मन घुरे सुनीति ये प्रभु पड़े देव तुम करी ये प्रभु पड़े देव तुम करी हरे देले मन घुरे सुनीति हरे देले मन घुरे सुनीति ये जीवन बीती जाओ तुम से बाटरी ये जीवन बीती जाओ तुम से बाटरी हम गाई नयन रो नील पड़ुधारी हम गाई नयन रो नील पड़ुधारी ये जीवन बीती जाओ तुम से बाटरी हम गाई नयन रो नील पड़ुधारी हम गाई नयन रो नील पड़ुधारी कृपा करी गुरुदेव देवी शरण लाभ कृपा करी गुरुदेव देवी शरण लाभ परम देखो सिंधु पारी की परम देखो सिंधु पारी की हरे मन घुरे चोरी हरे मन घुरे चोरी ये प्रभु पड़े देव तुम करी ये प्रभु पड़े देव तुम करी हरे देले मन घुरे चोरी हरे देले मन घुरे चोरी सुखा दिव्य सिंहासने गण कुसुम भूषणे सुखा दिव्य सिंहासने गण कुसुम भूषणे करुण रूप माधुरी की माधुरी की करुण रूप माधुरी की माधुरी की
Sadhguru Swami Nigamananda Uttarasamrita, page number 10, broader life. Those who are mentally weak and devoid of strong determination are perpetually susceptible to fear. They cannot walk on the path of truth. I don't consider any of you ordinary or less deserved, because the path of self-surrender is the best of all. You are moving on the path of experiencing a broader life by sacrificing your tiny life. Inaction and indolence can never find any place in you, because You have completely surrendered yourself to me. My divine qualities are being unknowingly transmitted to you. Therefore, like me, you will also get the taste of salvation while living. Do you know when you will realize that you are progressing on the path of self-surrender? It will be known when you find that inaction and lethargy have totally vanished from your body. Then your mind will be always filled with the celestial joy in our team. You will neither feel fatigued even after incessant work. That is, one can remain completely unattached with endless work. For this, I advise don't waste your time further. Awake, rise, and be initiated with the help of self-surrender and attain divine knowledge and know their principle of divine action.
Saraswata Sangha Puri, Grand America Saraswata Sangha 728 Sangha Puja Session Report. Date August 2nd, 2020, time 7:15 to 11:45, Pariya Devandi and Rasmina. For attendee please check Sangha website. Minutes of the first session. The first session started at 7:30 a.m. Eastern after singing of the Diksha song by Uditama and Arpitama. Ramitikai performed Arati and then Smita Baima sang Vandana and Stotra Vandana. After reading a Parichaya Patra, devotees prayed to Sri Sri Thakur to protect the world from COVID-19 pandemic, for smooth function of Sammelani and for proper daily puja at Nigam Mandira, all of which were led by Janabhai. Then Lipsitama led Vandana, Prathana and Prathana Karinko Prati, lesson from Sangha Sevaka, volume 17, part 3. This was followed by reading the last verse from Sri Sri Guru Gita by Kalpanama. Rasmima requested Sri Sri Thakur to accept Balya Bhoga and join the second session after his short ride. He also requested devotees present at the session to have prasad. After Joy Guru Kirtan, the first session came to an end. Minutes of second session. The second session started at 10 a.m. Eastern after Hanamagana, which preceded by Abahana song sung by Pujama and Anjulima. Jinama sang Vandana and Pallakama led Judy of Parichaya Patra for Math. Sipani Mahantima sang Visvapati Pranam. Sonali Ma read from Nikomo Padesha the section titled Conquest of Sea. Then Prabhakar Bhai presented the minutes of last Sangha Puja session. Pratama read 2 letters written by Sri Thakur to 2 of his female devotees. After that, Niluma sang a Prathana song and Smita Raima read from Sansara Pathe, part 1. Janavai answered questions asked by some of the devotees. Then the young aspirant session started with Saraswati singing a prayer. Vedamati Ma led the discussion. Then Rasmi Ma did Bhavavinima following, which she invited Sri Thakur for Madhyana Bhoga and evening puja. She requested devotees present at NSM to have prasad. Amita Bhai invited Sri Thakur, all Bhais, Mas and young aspirants for Janmochava Puja on August 3rd. Eva invited for the next YA session and Visuranjan Bhai invited for the next Sangha Puja. Rasima then prayed to Sri Thakur and requested all devotees to forgive all sevakas and savikas who performed seva during the Sangha Puja for any mistakes they might have committed. Finally, Amrita Ma sang Vidya Prathana. The second session ended with Joy Guru Kirtan. Then Janabhai took attendance of the devotees. This is Thakur Jana Rasmi. Joy Guru.
জয় the Nigam Guru will start on page 144. So, Sadhakas should serve Sri Radha Krishna as Sakhis in the power of Vrindavan of their own heart. They, like their own cherished Nitya Sakhis, have to serve the holy feet of Sri Radha Krishna with mental body by sowing chowri, making garland, preparing the bed, and bringing their union based on Singararasa. They have to always perform their seva and parijarya, that is worship. They have to accomplish leelas, etc., emulating Dwaja leelas every day according to the month and tithi. This seva has to be performed not only in mind but also by endeavor of both mind and senses by dint of devotion, emulating Gopi Bhava. For this reason, the devotees who have attained the grace of Gurudev would serve both Sri Radha and Krishna, emulating the bhava and endeavor of gopis. While performing such sadhana, the mental siddha deha of the sadhaka is gradually flourished. Siddha gopi deha means antah chintita bhishta deho, that is, the desired mental body of oneself, suitable for performing seva, which emerges in the heart of the sadhaka by unceasing thought of his own cherished gopi. Without formation of such a siddha deha, a devotee is not able to perform directly the seva of Sri Radha Krishna. It means that he is not ever eligible to accomplish their seva directly. Hence, from the outset, devotees have to endeavor to attain such siddha deha. Therefore, they have to relinquish attachment to outward things, and like Sri Rupa Manjari and other Nitya Sakhis of Nitya Brajadhama, they would accomplish the seva of Sri Radha Krishna by preparing the head and bower with leaves, with flowers and fruits in Sri Vrindavan. At first, a devotee desirous of Gopi Bhava has to continuously contemplate in mind the image of a gopi and spend time in the meditation on her, and always pray for her grace. When the devotee thought on Ishta becomes very intense, the image of his own cherished gopi, let me start all over. When the devotee thought on Ishta becomes very intense, the image of his own cherished gopi, that is Abhishta gopi, will manifest before him. The sadhakas will be overwhelmed by visualizing revelation of incomparable and inexplicable beauty of the gopi. He will then be ever absorbed in contemplation of that image as a natural expression, like a person haunted naturally by a ghost or by a supernatural force. As a result of unceasing thought of this image of the gopi, the sadhaka will experience the formation of a new image and the emergence of siddha gopi deha in his heart. It is a scientific reality because yatra manodehi dharayat sakalam dhiya nehat dvesat bhayat va api jati tat surupatang itha pesakritam dhayan udyantena pravesitah jati tat satmatang rajan purvorupam or samtyajan. Srimad Bhagavata, Ekadasha Skanda, 9th chapter, verses 22 to 23. Just as a beetle by its continuous contemplation of a black bee inside a hole, assumes the self of the black bee without relinquishing its form or shape. Similarly, a person by thinking deeply and continuously on any object out of affection or jealousy or fear or fondness assumes the self of the object of his thought without forsaking his form or shape. Because of the above reason, if a sadhaka associated with gunas continuously thinks of the self of a gopi in his heart out of love, he will also attain the self of the gopi befitting for the seva of the divine. Such anta chintita gopi deha is the siddha deha. When it blooms in the heart, a sadhaka does not treat the gopi separated from himself. Then his own self seems to be the image of the cherished gopi. A sadhaka identifies his own self with the body of the gopi. In this state, a sadhaka's natural qualities alloyed with gunas merge with the divine loving qualities of a gopi. Then, a devotee experiences and expresses variously the sublime uprising within. At that stage, he realizes the ecstasies of Sri Radha Krishna in Rasa Krida associated with Sringara Rasa. In other words, the devotee experiences complete divine joy. As a result of that sadhana, a devotee like Sri Gauranga Dev, sometimes remaining in the form of Sri Krishna, is absorbed in the bhava of Sri Radha and behaves like Radha by emulating the nature of Radha. Again, she also sometimes remaining in the form of Sri Radha behaves like Sri Krishna and thus realizes Lilananda. That is to say, the devotee is occupied by Sri Krishna within and Radha outside, and again Radha within and Krishna outside. Due to the blooming of such bhava, the devotee attains divine ecstasy in totality. On the extinction of prarabdha, the sadhaka, by relinquishing the natural body associated with the gunas, assumes the mental subtle body, that is siddha gopi deha, and attains prema sevottara gati and merges eternally with asamardha prema rasa madhurya of Sri Radha Krishna in Nitya Vrindavan. The mystery of Sahaja Sadhana. The methods of sadhana, which I have described earlier in the chapter Rasa Tattva and Sadhya Sadhana, cannot be practiced by anyone save a true Vaishnava. They cannot be practiced by anyone save a true Vaishnava who has conquered Shakti and is free from Maya. If one has the least inclination for material gain, one cannot achieve the growth of antar chintita bhishta deho. When mind is troubled by external temptation, it impedes continuous contemplation and formation of the cherished gopi deho. As a result, it is not possible for one to accomplish the seva of Radha Krishna directly, like Sri Rupa Mandiri and other Sakhis in eternally siddha Brajaloka. Again, there is no way to attain the blissful self of love with the help of any other kind of sadhana bhakti. As a result of sadhana bhakti, a sadhaka attains fourfold salvation like Salokya, etc. With Aishwarya Ikhottara gati, which means salvation associated with happiness and opulence. But he cannot attain Premasavatara gati, which is salvation associated with love and service, like suffering. Then, a sadhaka, covetous of Gopi Bhava, characterized by Sringara Rasa, cannot achieve his desire except by devotion emulating a Gopi. Madhura Bhava is far more than any mission, be it karma, yoga, japa, tapasya, jnana, Vaidhi Bhakti and meditation. Only on the path of Raga and Krishna version, one can attain Krishna's love and affection. Let me read that original stanza also. Karma tapa yoga dhyan, vidhi bhakti japa dhyan, ya hoite madhurya dullabh, केवल जे रागमार्ग के भजे कृष्ण अनुरागे सारे कृष्ण माधुर्य सुलभ. Then, what is the way to attain it? Saints have recorded those ways in the scripture. The sadhana of Rai Ramananda, Mandira, and other Rasika Bhaktas is to be emulated by such sadhakas. I have told earlier that kama gives birth to longing for external objects. The greatest attraction of kama is present in women. It is affirmed in the scripture. Noiva Sri no Puman Eso no cho evo oyam nam pusaka jat sariram adapte teno salakhyate. Cheta Upanishad Panchamadhyaya. Atma is neither a woman nor a man, nor even an eunuch. When Atma assumes any physical body, it is called a woman or a man, corresponding to the physical shape and appearance. In fact, one and same entity of Chaitanya manifests in the form of a woman or a man. There is only difference in physical form and attributes. Then why is there so much of attraction for each other? A footnote here. The cause of attraction between man and woman and the way of the cause of attraction between man and woman and the ways of its elimination are vividly described in my book Jnani Guru. So here it is mentioned in nutshell. Although Atma of man and woman is one, but there is greater manifestation of Chit Shakti in man and Ananda Shakti in woman, for which man is naturally attracted towards woman and the vice versa. The whole purpose is to bring about the mingling of their self and ensure totality by filling up their inherent deficiencies. The temptation of kama is greatest in woman. Hence, by way of union with woman, man wins self-completeness and enters into the realm of inner world by annihilating easily the principal attraction of the world. So there is the provision of Kulachara sadhana in the tantric scriptures. As a matter of fact, without Kula sadhana, there is no other way for Maya-stricken man to succeed in the higher stage of kama. The apostle of Tantra know that it is very difficult for man to forsake the desire for union with a woman, in spite of innumerable advice from the Vedas and mythologies. It goes without saying that man, full of instinctive impulse, cannot but enjoy rupa, rasa, etc., physically in certain proportion, small or large. If by some means he is awakened to his dearest objects of enjoyment, he will love to acquire spiritual qualities like control over senses within a very short time by dint of his deep love and sincerity. There is no iota of doubt in it. For this reason, the devotee desirous of Gopi Bhava worships Radha Krishna performing Tantric of Kulachara sadhana, unopposed to the scripture. As a result of Kulachara sadhana, they emancipate themselves from the impact of kama and enter into the realm of bhava. They merge in the nectar of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the Maha Manmatha of Sri Vrindavan, by attaining devotion and for a gopi joy.
Bhai. 49 ଥିଲା ବୋଧେ 100 only went to 49 anyway
49 ର ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ପ୍ୟାରାଗ୍ରାଫ ଯୋଉ ସଲା ସେଠି ରଖିଲି
ठीक है so we'll discuss few minutes so ଆମେ ଆଜି ଯୋଉ ପଢିଲେ ଶାକ୍ତ ବୈଷ୍ଣବଟା ସରିଲା ତାପରେ then we went to little bit of ସହଜ ସାଧନା ଉପରେ ବେଶୀ କିଛି ଆମର କହିବାର ନାହିଁ କାହିଁକିନା ତା ଭିତରେ କିଛି କହିହବନି ତାର our way of life dharma always believes in eligibility for something ସେ ଜିନିଷ ସବୁ ୱାର୍ଡରେ ଅଛି those who are eligible ଏଇ ଟାଇପ୍ର ୱାର୍ଡ ସବୁ ୟୁଜ୍ କରାଯାଇଛି if you are not eligible just read it there is something there but you really don't need to pay a lot of attention to that କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଶାକ୍ତ ବୈଷ୍ଣବଟା ଆଜି ସାରିଲେ ତାର ଏଣ୍ଡ ଆଡ଼କୁ କେତେ ଗୋଟେ ବଢ଼ିଆ ବଢ଼ିଆ ଜିନିଷ ସବୁ ଠାକୁର କହିଛନ୍ତି I just want to point some of them out to you କଥା ହେଉଛି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସଖୀ ଭାବ ବିନା ନିଜ ସେବାର ଅଧିକାର ଲାଭ ଯଦି ଆପଣ ସଖୀଙ୍କର ଭାବଟାକୁ ଫଲୋ ନ କରିବେ ତାହେଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେବା କରିବା ଅଧିକାର ଅଛି କୁଞ୍ଜ ସେବା କୁଞ୍ଜରେ ସେବା ତାଙ୍କ ସେବା ସବୁ ମିଶେଇକି କୁଞ୍ଜ ସେବା ଭିତରେ ଯାଏ ତେଣୁ ଆପଣ ରାଧାକୃଷ୍ଣ କୁଞ୍ଜରେ ବସୁଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣ ତାଙ୍କର ସେବା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଇଏ ଧାରଣାଟା ସଖୀ ଭାବ ନହେଲେ ହୁଏ ସଖୀ ଭାବ ଧାରଣା କେମିତି ହୁଏ ନା କୌଣସି ଗୋଟେ ସଖୀକୁ ଧରି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅବଲମ୍ବନ କରି କରାଯାଏ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିକି ତାଙ୍କ ଭାବରେ ଭାବିତ ହୋଇକି ସେ କେମିତି ସେବା କରୁଛନ୍ତି କୋଉ ଭାବରେ ସେ ରହିଲେ ସେବା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଇତ୍ୟାଦି ଇତ୍ୟାଦି ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ଭକ୍ତି ମାର୍ଗର ଇଏଟା ତା ଦେହରେ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଭାବରେ ଭାବିତ ହେଲେ ତ ଭାବରେ ଭାବିତ ହେଲା ପାଇଁ ସେ ସେବାର ଉପଯୋଗୀ ଦେହ ଗୋଟେ ଗଠନ କରିବାକୁ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହ ତାକୁ ଠାକୁର କହିବେ ସେ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହଟା କେମିତି ହୁଏ ନା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଅହର ଚିନ୍ତନ ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ ଉପରେ ସେଇ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ଉପରେ ଚିନ୍ତନ କରିବେ ତାଙ୍କର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକଳାପ ଗୁଣ ଇତ୍ୟାଦି ଇତ୍ୟାଦି ଅହର ଚିନ୍ତନ ହେଲେ ସେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଚିନ୍ତାରେ ଗୋଟେ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ହବ ସେଇଟାକୁ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହ ବୋଲି କହନ୍ତି ସେ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହ ଲାଭ ହେଲେ କାହିଁକି ତାଙ୍କର ସାକ୍ଷାତ ସେବାର ଅଧିକାର ଜନ୍ମେ ଯଦି ସେ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହ ନ ହବ ସାକ୍ଷାତ ଅଧିକାର ହେଇପାରିବ ନାହିଁ ଠାକୁର କହିଛନ୍ତି ସିଦ୍ଧ ଦେହର ସଂସ୍କାର ନହେଲେ ଭକ୍ତ ଶ୍ରୀ ରାଧାକୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କ ସାକ୍ଷାତ ସେବା ଲାଭର ସମସ୍ତ ଉନ୍ନତି ନାହିଁ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସାକ୍ଷାତ ସେବାର ଅଧିକାରୀ ହୁଅନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କ ସେବା ତ କରିପାରନ୍ତିନି କରିବାର ଏଲିଜିବିଲିଟି ତ ନାହିଁ କରିବେ କେମିତି କହିବ ଲୁଚି ଛପିକି ପଳେଇଲେ ନାହିଁ ହେଇପାରିବ ଏସବୁ କାମ ହେଇପାରିବ ତେଣୁ ତାର ଜିନିଷଟି ହେଲା ଆମକୁ ତାର ସେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଭାଗବତ ସବୁଠି ଆଣି କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯଥ ମନ ଦେଇକି ଧାର ଦିଆ ମନଟା ସେଇ ଚିନ୍ତାରେ ଚିନ୍ତିତ ହେଇକି ଆଉ ସବୁ ଚିନ୍ତାକୁ ଛାଡ଼ିଦବ ତାପରେ ଯାଇକି ସେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସେ ଭାବଟା ଯାଇକି ପହଞ୍ଚିପାରିବ ଠାକୁର ତେଣୁ ଆଜିରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଜିନିଷ ଆମର ମୁଁ ଯେତିକି ଶିଖିଛି କହୁଛି ଯେ ଏଇ ଭାବନାରେ ଭାବିତ ହୋଇ ଖାଲି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ କାମ କରୁଛି ଖାଲି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ କାମ କରୁଛି ତା ଭାବନାରେ ଭାବିତ ହୋଇ ଆଉ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଚିନ୍ତା ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଚାଲିଯିବ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସେଇ ଅବସ୍ଥାଟା ଆସିଯିବ ଆଉ କୌଣସି ଜିନିଷ କରିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା ହବନି ସେ ଇଚ୍ଛା ନହେଲେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ମନଟା ଖାଲି ଫିଟ୍ ଲାଗିବ ଆଉ କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ ଆଉ କୌଣସି ଜିନିଷ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମାନେ କ'ଣ କହନ୍ତି ବିଚଳିତ କରିବେ ଏଇ ଭାବରେ ରହିକି ତାର ଏଣ୍ଡିଂ ପାରାଗ୍ରାଫ ଠାକୁର ଏଣ୍ଡ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ତାହା ଫଳରେ ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ କର୍ମ କ୍ଷୟ ହୋଇଗଲେ ସାଧକ ପ୍ରାକୃତ ଗୁଣମୟ ଦେହ ପରିତ୍ୟାଗ ପୂର୍ବକ ମନୋମୟ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଦେହରେ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ସିଦ୍ଧ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହରେ ନିତ୍ୟ ବୃନ୍ଦାବନରେ ଶ୍ରୀ ରାଧାକୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କ ପ୍ରେମ ସେବକରା ଗତି ଲାଭ କରି ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଅସମର୍ଥ ଲୀଳା ରସ ମାଧୁର୍ଯ୍ୟରେ ଅନନ୍ତ କାଳ ନିମିତ୍ତ ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହୁନି କି ନିତ୍ୟ ଲୋକକୁ ଯିବା ଠାକୁର ସେବା କରିବା ନିତ୍ୟ ଲୋକକୁ ଯିବା ତାର ଗୋଟିଏ ଲାଇନରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ପାରାଗ୍ରାଫ ୱାନ୍ ଲାଇନ୍ ଆଉ ଥରେ ପଢୁଛି ଓଡ଼ିଆ ପାଇଁ କାହିଁକିନା ଯେତେ ଥର ପଢିବେ ସେତେ ଆହୁରି ଭାବଟା ସ୍ଫୁରଣ ହବ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ତାହାପରେ ମାନେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ସାଧନାରେ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ହେଇଗଲାଣି ଏଇ ଦେହରେ ଥାଇକି ସେଇ ଚିନ୍ତାଟା ସବୁବେଳେ ହଉଛି ତାହାପରେ ପ୍ରାରବ୍ଧ କର୍ମ କ୍ଷୟ ହୋଇଗଲେ ସାଧକ ପ୍ରାକୃତ ଗୁଣମୟ ଦେହ ପରିତ୍ୟାଗ ପୂର୍ବକ ପ୍ରାକୃତ ଗୁଣମୟ ଯୋଉଟା ଆମର ଫିଜିକାଲ ବଡିଟା ଅଛି, ପରିତ୍ୟାଗ ପୂର୍ବକ ମନୋମୟ ସୂକ୍ଷ୍ମ ଦେହରେ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ସିଦ୍ଧ ବୁଦ୍ଧି ଦେହରେ ନିତ୍ୟ ବୃନ୍ଦାବନ ଶ୍ରୀ ରାଧାକୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କର ପ୍ରେମ ସେବତ୍ୱରା ଗତି ଲାଭ କରି ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଅସମର୍ଥ ରସ ମାଧୁର୍ଯ୍ୟରେ ଅନନ୍ତ କାଳ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ନିତ୍ୟ ନିମଗ୍ନ ହୋଇ ରହ। ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ମୁକ୍ତି ଯୋଉଟାକୁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି। ଚିତ୍ରବିହୀନ ସ୍ତର ଅଛି ଆଲୋକ ସାଜୁଯ୍ୟ ଯୋଉ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଏଇଟା କେବେ କହିପାରିବ ଆଧରେ ଭକ୍ତି ମାର୍ଗରେ କହିପାରିଲେ ହାଇସ୍କୁଲ କୁହାଯାଇଛି। କାରଣ ସେମାନେ ମୁକ୍ତି ପାଇଁ ଚାହାନ୍ତି, କେତେବେଳେ ଚାହାନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ସେବା କରିବେ। ଖାଲି ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କର ସେବା କରିବ କାହା ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଜଣଙ୍କ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ସେବା କରିବେ, ସେ ଅବସ୍ଥା ଯାଇକି ଯେତେବେଳେ ପହଞ୍ଚିବେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଦେହଟା ଅଛି ତାର ଯେତେ ଦିନ ଯାଏ ଅଛି ଦେହଟା ତାର ଯୋଉ ସରିଗଲା ଦେହଟା ସରିଗଲା, ତାପରେ ସେ ଦେହ ତ୍ୟାଗ କଲେ, ସେ ଦେହ ଅବଲମ୍ବନ କଲେ, କୋଉ ନା ଯୋଉ ଗୋପୀ ଦେହ କରିକି ଚିନ୍ତା କରି ତାଙ୍କ ସେବା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଇ ଦେହ ଅବଲମ୍ବନ କଲେ, ସେଠି ଯାଇ ପହଞ୍ଚିଲେ। ସେଠି ପହଞ୍ଚିକରି ପ୍ରେମ ସେବା ଉତ୍ତରାଗତି ପ୍ରେମ ସେବା ଉତ୍ତରାଗତି ଲାଭ କରି ସେଇ ଲୀଳା ମାଧୁର୍ଯ୍ୟରେ ଯୋଉ ଇଂଲିଶରେ ତାକୁ ଲୀଳା ଜାଗାରେ ଭାବନା ପ୍ରେମ କଣ ଯୋଉଠି ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ତାକୁ ଲୀଳା ରସ ମାଧୁର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଅନନ୍ତ କାଳ। ତେଣୁ ଏସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ କେମିତି ହୁଏ, କାହିଁକି ହୁଏ, ଏଗୁଡାକୁ ଆମେ ମାନେ ବିଚାର କରିକି ପାଇବାନି, ଇଏ ବିଚାରର ବାହାରେ। ତେଣୁ ଆମର ଗୋଟିଏ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା ସଙ୍ଗୀତ ଆମର ଗୁରୁଦାସ ସାହି ଲେଖିଥିଲେ କାଲିରେ, ତର କେତେ ମିଳେ ନାହିଁ ନାହିଁରେ। ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ଗୀତଟି ଗାଇକି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ଆମର ପ୍ରଣତି ଜଣେଇବା, କେମିତି ସେଇ ବିଳାସ ମାଧୁର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଅବସ୍ଥା ଆମର ଲାଭ ହୁଏ, ସେ ଅବସ୍ଥାରେ କେହି ପହଞ୍ଚିପାରୁ କେବଳ ତାଙ୍କ କୃପାରୁ ହିଁ ହବ। କାହିଁକିନା ତତ୍ତ୍ୱ ତ କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ବିଚାର ନାହିଁ, ଜ୍ଞାନ ସେଠି ହାର ମାନେ, କେବଳ ତାଙ୍କରି ପ୍ରତି ଆମର ସେଇ ଭକ୍ତି ଥିବା ଦରକାର। ଭକ୍ତି ସହିତ ତାଙ୍କର ସେବା କରୁ କରୁ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ତାଙ୍କର ଆମେ ବୁଝିବା।
Before বাঁধিছিলে তারে প্রেম, বাঁধিছিলে তারে প্রেম, তোরি দেই রে ধীরে না ধীরে না
Jai Guru, Samsara Pathak Part 1, Chapter 10. Household of Service towards Sri Gurudev. Sahaja Bhava, unadulterated emotion, continue. I consider humans to be greater than the deity, Devata. The installation and consecration of deity is conducted by men. When you come across an absent deity, they likely you remind it that there must have been a powerful son who energized that holy place and pilgrim. It is the spiritual practice of humans that keeps holy places energized, and humans are considered superior beings. Among the various types of seva, service to Sri Gurudeva is considered exceptional. In this way, subject of seva is vast, and so are the approaches, but service to Sri Gurudeva is beyond comparison. If one is inclined towards self-renunciation, then it is imperative to take the vow of service to Sri Gurudeva. One must let go all ego, even relinquish the ego of spiritual practice. sadhana bhajana, and perform the service to Guru, because the pride resulting from spiritual practice. Sadhana diminishes the individual. It is just like Deva is bound in a golden chain. In Upanishad, the term used is golden covering, the Hiranamaya Jivanika. If one performs service to the Guru Deva wholeheartedly and utmost discipline and comparable trust in his word, then the bond can be served. When one achieves equanimity through the sincere service to Guru Deva, one can feel completeness in their heart. Remember one more thing, even Adi Shankara and Sri Gauranga were human. Benevolence towards the humans can be done by humans. God takes the human thought and guides men in an auspicious path, so humans are attempting to reach other humans. Humans are worthy worship to humankind. When humanity blossoms within men, one can even discover God within them. My blessing is that you rise up to human and may the greatness of humanity awaken within you. Do not think of Sri Guru Deva in an attributeless, nirguna form. There are 4 types of Guru: Adarsha Guru, Acharya Guru, Sadguru, and Jagat Guru. There is no connection between Adarsha Guru and initiation. Teaching and spiritual practices, Diksha, Sikha, Sadhana. Anyone can accept any individual as an idol and build their life. And Acharya Guru is one who provides education related to scriptures, one who initiates Diksha Guru, Diksha Data, is also referred as the Acharya Guru. And when he instructs faith, blossom and appears in the disciple's heart, then he knows as a Sadguru. After self-realization, Atma-Sakhyata, the disciple will realize him as Jagat Guru. The benefit of dependence on Sri Guru Deva cannot be received through the dependency on God. When Lord Krishna explained Arjuna about dependency on God, he said, Tat prasadat prasanam panti santayam prayasi saswatam, which means you will find peace by the grace of God. If you are unable to depend on the God, then Nakarni Paranam Raja, which means if depend on me, you will reach the highest state, Pragati. God does not provide instruction in person, but Sadguru explicitly provides instruction and direct his disciples. Adarsha means idol, referable. Acharya means teacher, referable.
Jai. The question and answer discussion are. So before we entertain your question, I want to read a little bit. बहुत दिन तले हमारा discussion निकला गुरु इष्ट उपरे. जो जिन सोड़ा का मैं थोड़ा discussion करी थी ले. I don't know why. मो मन रे आसिला. We were not completely convincing some of you. हम कही थी ले निराकर बंदे कितने को फास्ट करो कही जन. So I'm just going to get that out and just read it. पढ़ीदेले मे भी ठाकुर को निज मुहर जो कथा बाहरी that may have a different impact. So I meant to find it and read it, and never could get the book and start reading page by page and find it. Last दिन से हमरो समझो पढ़छु पुना समझो आज को जगह रे सेटा को reference दिया है. So I thought that is Thakur was ordered to me to read them to you because it's already given. So first one, Yatrohan, ଡେଟ୍ଟା ହେଉଛି 6/5/1334 ସାଲ ରବିବାର। ଶକ୍ତି ଓ ଶକ୍ତିମାନ ଅଭେଦ ବନମାଳୀ। ଇଷ୍ଟଦେବ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଦେବୀ ଓ ଗୁରୁଦେବଙ୍କୁ କ'ଣ ଏକ ଭାବିବାକୁ ହେବ? କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରିଲେ ବନମାଳୀ। ସେ ଠାକୁର ହଁ, ସେ ଭାବ ଖୁବ୍ ଉଚ୍ଚ, ତାହା ଅନ୍ତରରୁ ଆସିବା ଦରକାର। ଶକ୍ତି ଓ ଶକ୍ତିମାନ ଅଭେଦ। ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ତାହାର ଧବଳତ୍ୱ ଉପରେ ଅଭେଦ, ଶକ୍ତି ଓ ଶକ୍ତିମାନ ସେପରି ଅଭେଦ। ଶାସ୍ତ୍ରରେ ଅଛି ବ୍ରହ୍ମ ଦ୍ୱିଦଳ ଚଣକ। ଚଣା ଉପରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଆବରଣ ଥାଏ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଭାଙ୍ଗିଦେଲେ ଏଥିରୁ ଦୁଇଟି ଦଳ ବାହାରେ। ସେହିପରି ଶକ୍ତି ଓ ଶକ୍ତିମାନ ଏକ ବୋଲି କଥିତ ଅଛି। ଶକ୍ତି ଶକ୍ତିମାନ ବାପି ନ ବିଭେଦ କରା। ଏଇଟା ଆମେ ପଢୁଛେ ତେଲୁଗୁ। ତା ଦେହରେ ଥିଲା ଅଚିନ୍ତ ତତ୍ତ୍ୱ। ବହୁତ ଦିନ ଲାଗିଲା ସାରିବାକୁ, ଆମକୁ। ତା ଦେହରେ ସେ ସେଇ ଜିନିଷଟି କହିଛନ୍ତି। ଚିନ୍ତା କରିହେବନି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଭେଦ ହେଇକି ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଭେଦ। ଇଏ ସେମିତି ଇଷ୍ଟ ଦେବୀ ଆଉ ଗୁରୁଦେବ ସେମାନେ ଅଭେଦ। ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟିଏ ଜାଗାରେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବା ଉଚିତ, ଆଗକୁ ଉଚ୍ଚ ବୋଲି କହିବେ। ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ପାଇବା କିମ୍ବା ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ସେ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି, ସେ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ଫଲୋ କରିକି ଆଉ କାହାକୁ ପାଇବା। ଏଠି ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି 6/11/1935 ମସିହା ଠାକୁର ଦେହ ରକ୍ଷା କରିବା ପୂର୍ବରୁ ଏଇଟାର ଆର୍ଟିକଲର ଲେଖାରେ ଅନ୍ତିମ ଉପଦେଶ ବୋଲି କରିକି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି। ତାର ଖାଲି ଗୋଟିଏ ପାରାଗ୍ରାଫ ହଉଛି, ହଉଛି ଯେଉଁମାନେ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ଏଥର ସମାଜ କରି ଦେହ ତ୍ୟାଗ କରି ନୂତନ ବଳ ଉତ୍ସାହ ନେଇ ଫେରିଆସିବି, ଜଗତର ଅନ୍ୟ ଭାବରେ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରିବି। ମୋ ଭିତରେ ଯେଉଁ ଶକ୍ତି କେନ୍ଦ୍ରୀଭୂତ ରହିଛି, ମୋ ସ୍ଥୂଳ ଦେହ ରକ୍ଷା ହେବା ପରେ ମୋର ସେଇ ଶକ୍ତି ଶିଷ୍ୟ ଭକ୍ତମାନଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ସଞ୍ଚାରିତ ହୋଇଛି। ଯେଉଁମାନେ ମୋର ଭକ୍ତ ଭାବରେ ଜୀବନ କଟାଇବେ ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟିଏ ଜନ୍ମରେ ମୁକ୍ତି ପାଇବେ। ଅନ୍ୟ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ମୋ ପ୍ରଦତ୍ତ ସାଧନ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଅଥଚ ମୋତେ ଚାହାନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ ପୁନରାୟ ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରି ଅନ୍ୟ ଶବ୍ଦରୁ ଲାଭ କରି ମୁକ୍ତି ପାଇବେ। ଯେଉଁମାନେ ମୋର ବିଭାଚନ କରିବେ ସେମାନେ 3 ଜଣ ମୁକ୍ତି ଲାଭ, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ମଧ୍ୟ 3 ଜଣ ମୁକ୍ତି ଲାଭ। ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଠାକୁର ଆପଣ ଚାଲିଲେ କ'ଣ ଦେଖିବେ, ତାପରେ ଅନେକ କଥା କହିଛନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ଏଠି କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଭକ୍ତବାଦ ଜୀବନଯାପନ କରିବା କଥା ତାଙ୍କୁ ହିଁ କେବଳ ଚାହିଁବେ, ସିଏ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଏକ ଜନ୍ମରେ ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା କରିଛନ୍ତି। ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କୁ ନ ଚାହିଁବେ ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରଦତ୍ତ ସାଧନ ଧାରା ଫଲୋ କରିବେ, ଯୋଉଟାକି ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ନିଜସ୍ୱ ବୋଲି ଏଇ ଲେଖା ନିଜସ୍ୱ ସେଇଟା ସେ ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ନିଜସ୍ୱ ଧାରା କରିକି ଇଷ୍ଟଙ୍କୁ ଚିନ୍ତା କଲେ, ତାହେଲେ ସେ ନେକ୍ସଟ ଜନ୍ମରେ ଆଉ ଜଣେ ସଦ୍ଗୁରୁ ପାଇବେ, ତାଙ୍କ ଅଭିଷ୍ଟ ଲାଭ କରିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିବେ। କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯେ ଗୁରୁ ଇଷ୍ଟ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଦୁଇଟାକୁ ଜିନିଷ ଆପଣ ଯଦି ଲିଙ୍କ କରିବେ, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯେ ଗୁରୁ ଇଷ୍ଟ କରିକି ଇଏ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ସେ ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ସାଧନ ଧାରା ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି, ସାଧନ ଧାରା ଫଲୋ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ ଯଦି ସେଇଭଳିଆ ନିଷ୍ଠାପର ଭାବେ ଜୀବନ ସାରା ବିତେଇବେ, ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟିଏ ଜନ୍ମରେ ମୁକ୍ତି ବୋଲି ସେ କହିଛନ୍ତି। ଏଇଟା ହେଲା ତା। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିଥିଲେ, ଯୋଉଟାକି ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି ଆମେ ତାକୁ ପଚାରିକି ପଚାରିକି ଆନ୍ସରଟା ଦେବି, ମୁଁ ପଚାରି ପାରିନି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆନ୍ସରଟା ମୋତେ ମିଳିଗଲା। ଗୋଟେ ଥର ଡିସ୍କସନ ହଉଥିଲା ଯେ ଠାକୁର ତ ଦଉଥିଲେ ଇଷ୍ଟ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଦୀକ୍ଷା, ଶକ୍ତି ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଦିବଳ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଦୀକ୍ଷା ଦଉଥିଲେ। ତାପରେ ସେମାନେ ଆସି ସବୁ କହିଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ଆମକୁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା ହଉଛି, ଆଉ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଧ୍ୟାନ କରିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା ହଉଛି, କହିଛନ୍ତି ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି, ସେଟା ଭଲ ଭାବ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିବେ। ଆମେ ଆଙ୍କ କଥା ବି କହିଥିଲେ। ଶିଶିର ବସୁ ଯିଏ ତାଙ୍କର ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଥିଲା, ସେଥିରେ ଯେମିତି ଠାକୁର ତାଙ୍କୁ ମଝିରେ ମଝିରେ ଧ୍ୟାନ କଲାବେଳେ ଇଷ୍ଟ ଆଦି ବନ୍ଦ ଯାଆନ୍ତି, ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ, ଠାକୁର କହିଲେ ଇଷ୍ଟଙ୍କୁ ବାହାର କରି ଗୁରୁଙ୍କୁ ବସା, ତାଙ୍କୁ କହିଲେ। ଏ କଥା ବି ଆମେ କଥା ହେଇଛି। ସେଇଠି ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଡିସ୍କସନ ହେଇଥିଲା couple of hours. I thought that it's a mantra change. କାହିଁକିନା ମନ୍ତ୍ରାର୍ଥ ବାଳ ଭାବିତ ହୁଅନ୍ତି। ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଆଉ ମନ୍ତ୍ରର ଯିଏ ପ୍ରତିପାଦ୍ୟ ଦେବତା, ସେ ଦୁଇ ଯାକ ଏକା ହେଉଛି। ସେଇଟା ହେଉଛି ମନ୍ତ୍ରର ଅର୍ଥ। ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଅର୍ଥ ଆଉ କିଛି ନୁହଁ। ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଯାହା ନେଉଛନ୍ତି ସେ ମନ୍ତ୍ରଟା ନେଲା ମାନେ ସେ ଯିଏ ତାଙ୍କର ମନ୍ତ୍ର ପ୍ରତିପାଦ୍ୟ ଦେବତା, ତାଙ୍କ ଚିନ୍ତାଟା ମନେ ଆସିବ, ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ନାହିଁ। ଯଦି ଇଷ୍ଟଙ୍କୁ ଛାଡ଼ି ଗୁରୁଙ୍କୁ ଆଣିଲେ, ମୋର ଲଜିକାଲ ଥିଙ୍କିଂଟା ଥିଲା ଯେ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ବି ତାଙ୍କର ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଲା। ସେଇଟା ଠିକ୍ ଲାଗିନଥିଲା। ମୁଁ ଭାବିଥିଲି ପଚାରିକି ବୁଝିକି କହିବି, ସେଇଟା କରିପାରିନି। କିନ୍ତୁ ପଢ଼ୁଥିଲି ଦିନେ ଭିତରେ କଥା ସଂଗ୍ରହ ଯୋଉଟା ଶିଶୁ ବସୁଙ୍କର ଡିସ୍କସନ ଠାକୁର, ଆଦେହରେ ସେ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି କହିଛନ୍ତି କ'ଣ ହେଇଛି, ଶିଶୁ ବସୁ ସ୍ୱପ୍ନରେ ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି ଠାକୁର ଆସିକି ତାଙ୍କ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିଛନ୍ତି। ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଛି, ତାପରେ କ'ଣ କରିବେ, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଠାକୁର ଦୀକ୍ଷା ଦେଇଥିଲେ, କାନରେ କହିଥିଲେ ଯୋଉ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ତାକୁ କରିବେ ନା ଇଏ ଯୋଉ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଏବେ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କଲେ ସ୍ୱପ୍ନରେ ଆସିକି ତାକୁ କରିବେ। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ କହୁଛନ୍ତି କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରିଛନ୍ତି। ଠାକୁର କହିଛନ୍ତି ନା ସେଇ ସମୟରେ ମୋର ସେଇ ମନ୍ତ୍ରର ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା ଥିଲା, ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ ସେଇ ମନ୍ତ୍ରରେ ତୁମକୁ ଦୀକ୍ଷା ଦେଇଥିଲି। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ତୁମ ମନ୍ତ୍ର ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିଦେଲି, କାହିଁକିନା ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ତୁମ ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟେଜରେ ଅଛ ଏଇ ମନ୍ତ୍ରଟା ମୋର ଦରକାର। ସେ ମନ୍ତ୍ର କ'ଣ, ଏଇ ମନ୍ତ୍ର କ'ଣ ଆମେ ଜାଣିନୁ। So mantra change is one of the examples. So I just wanted to tell you to know. At this point, I will stop. Any questions? We have 3 minutes or so.
भाई जय गुरु भाई मोर गोटे क्वेश्चन अच्छे जोगी गुरु जीव देहरे सप्तद्वीप सहित सुमेरु पर्वत अवस्थान करुअछि एवं समुदाय नद नदी समुद्र पर्वत क्षेत्र क्षेत्रफल प्रकृति मध्य अवस्थान करुअछन्ति भाई यार टिके माने मीनिंग टा बुझियलानी माने कोन हम देह भितर से पूरा ए जियोग्राफिकल सब जिंस जाका हम देह भितर अछि बोली ठाकुर कहउछन्ति कि एटा शरीर तत्वर चैप्टर
आज्ञा आज्ञा से भाई सर कथाटा होछि कोन कि जोगी मानकर मतरे जोटा विश्व ब्रह्मांडटा अछि विश्व ब्रह्मांडर गोटे छोट रेपिका अछि हम बड़ी भीतर से सब जिन गुड़ा अच्छे तेणु से पहाड़ देखुं नद नदी देखुं तार गोटे रिप्रेजेंटेशन बड़ी भीतर भी अच्छे आम जो कहते विश्व ब्रह्मांड विभिन्न लेयर सब अच्छी स्टेजेस लाइक भू अश्व महजना तप सत्य इत्यादि 7टा लोक अच्छी से भी देह भर जो तंत्र प्राक्ट करते कहे मनुष्य लोक आरंभ है भू लोक ता तलू तलू सब लता तल मही तल तला तल इत्यादि इत्यादि सेगुड़ा भी बड़ी भितर कल्पना कराई तेणु जोगी मान मतरे जहाँ बाहर अच्छी ता भितर ये जिनस कहते तेणु नद नदी कौन है probably the veins carrying blood will be probably another nadi because they are carrying fluid. I don't know. But that is how those things are imagined. तेणु संसारटा भी पूरा जमी ध्यान आने जगह देह भितर ध्यान आप जोगुरु पढ़ी चलते शरीर जय सब पढ़ दिखाँ देखिए तादे नवचक्र कथा कहते से जिन गुड़ा सब मैप भी कर पढ़े जना पड़े डिस्कसन दरकार से सब शरीर को मैप कराई सब लोक को मैप कराई सब तारी सब देह that is what that means. Our time is ended, so we should end the discussion here and move on to the next portion of our program. Shreya, the Prasna Sangha, Shreya will narrate.
Jai Sehi pathati diya he mote sehi pathare niya je patha tuma charana chui chira loka maya sehi pathati diya he mote सेहि पथरे नियम ए मरते मिलन पथे भूली छिचते भूली छिचते चाली छिकिते मिथ्या चाली पाई छिताप भय पथटी दिया हे मोते सेहि पथरे नियम टूटाई दे संसार डोरी चले बिखले न माटे धरी नयन कोणो पड़े बझरे पुलक भरा लुहा सेहि पथटे दिया हे मोते सेहि पथरे नियम तुम्हारी पद पद्मर रेखा केते चिताहि होई छे लेखा ताहारे पासे प्रणति ढाली चाले बिनी रे भय नियम छत्र से अमर से रखिब मोते तुम्हारे पासे मरम खोली परम सुरे गाइबी तुम जय सेहि पथटी दिया हे मोते सेहि पथरे निया जे पथ तुम चरण छुई चिरलोकमय सेहि पथटी दिया हे मोते सेहि पथरे निया सेहि पथटी दिया हे मोते सेहि पथरे निया.
Very good. We'll start with attendance, and then I'll ask them to explain the meaning of that song. Okay. Aditi?
Jai Guru, he is coming.
Okay. Jai Guru. Adhyasa? Isis?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Ansh?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Ansh?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Anshu?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Arnav?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Aram? Arush? Aryan? Gemma?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Gyan? Devangi? Divya?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Timmy?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Eva?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Jagrat?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Nice.
Jai Guru Ma.
Jai Guru. Pratyusha? Pratyush?
Jai Guru Ma.
Jai Guru. Family? Radhika?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Alpha? Bhakti?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Bobby?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Shilpi? Shreya?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Manu?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Jimmy?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Siddharth? Simran?
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Shrija?
Jai Guru.
Suhani? Yukta? Jai Guru. Jai Guru. If there's anyone that came in after you didn't hear your name called, you can.
Jai Guru. This is Gyan.
Jai Guru, this is not. Jai Guru, I am.
Jai Guru Man Sangha.
Jai Guru Sangha. Okay. I'm looking at a few people today. So let's get started with Shreya, if you can explain the meaning of the song you sang today.
Jai Guru, the meaning of the song is saying, show me that path and take me on that path, Thakura, that is always bright as it touches your feet. On this earth, that path that takes me to you, when I take that, the more I go, the more I get lost. I have walked so much not sure if it was going towards you, and that uncertainty caused me pain and sadness. I would just go along reciting your name, calling for you. At the end of my journey, take me to your abode and keep me with you. I will forever sing your glory. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. So that song, like many of the others, is asking for Thakura's grace, and specifically, this one is asking. It is asking Thakura to show us the way, and our worries about whether or not we're actually able to follow it. And especially now, like all of us have those moments when we're not sure, how we're interpreting his words, his advice, what he would want for us if we're actually doing that. But ultimately, we want to be with him and we want to have that knowledge that he can give us and that faith in him to get us there. And so ultimately, we need him to guide us, and we want, at the end of all of this, to be with him and be who he wants us to be, with the knowledge that he wants us, that he wants us to have, that ultimate knowledge. And so that's a good transition into what we are going to talk about today. So, these last few times in this particular session, the second week session, we've been talking about Thakura, and we've been talking about what it means that we call him our Guru and what a Guru can do. We've also talked about how we worship Thakura, how, what we can ask of him is we can ask him to guide us onto the right path. We've talked about how that path will get us ultimate happiness, ultimate knowledge, and especially knowledge of God. We have also, in that last session of the month, been looking at the meaning of the songs that we sing every morning and evening for Srimad. And some of those concepts that we've been talking about, because that also describes Guru in different ways. They've described the meaning and qualities of Guru, and they've described the meanings and qualities of God, and ultimately the essence of who Thakura is, and what our concept of what that ultimate knowledge, what that path is leading us to. So, last time, which was discussing the song a couple of weeks ago, Anj asked this question that we will get to today, as to why would Brahman create Maya if he created the universe? So what we're going to do today is we're going to together discuss and work through the knowledge that we have, what we know of Thakura as our Guru, and then transition to talking Thakura as Guru, but then Thakura as the embodiment of God of Brahman, which we've touched on before, it keeps coming up, and what ultimately this path might be leading us to, and getting some of that background information, because I'm not sure all of us have the same background when we're talking about these concepts, and that sort of imagery, that sort of explanation will come up a lot in these songs as we talk about them. It comes up a lot in when we describe Thakura in a lot of these songs. So it will be good for us to recenter and know what these terms are going to be. So when we talk about Thakura, the first question I'm going to ask, we talk about how Thakura is leading us on this path to ultimate knowledge, to ultimate happiness. And there are various things that he can do. So we've talked about this a few times, but just as the review, I'm going to start with Aditi, if she's here at this point. What do we know about Thakura as a guru? How do we describe him? What is he able to do?
Thakura is able to help you, and he's able to guide you. He helps you go to the ultimate. He helps you reach the ultimate truth.
Vaguely, yeah. And this is a bit of a harder question, so if you don't know, we'll go through. But what is that ultimate truth that we keep talking about? What ultimately do we know? What is ultimately that truth? Anshul?
Jaigu, so the question is, what is the ultimate truth?
Yes, so what is Thakura guiding us to? So what is that ultimate knowledge? And then what is that ultimate knowledge of ourselves that Thakura is guiding us towards?
Maybe it's the knowledge of how to be happy.
Jagger, yes, that is ultimately that knowledge is going to be that ultimate happiness for us. Okay, so same question. What is that ultimate knowledge? Aryan?
I think that ultimate knowledge is self-realization and finding what your dharma is.
It has to do with self-realization and finding out what our dharma is. And use that word dharma. What does that mean?
Like our purpose in life, basically.
Right. So trying to find our purpose, and that knowledge of who we are and what our purpose is going to help us be happy, as Thakura wants us to be. Okay. What else are our end goals? Gemma? What is that ultimate knowledge we're looking for? What is the ultimate knowledge or that self-realization that is guiding us?
I think the ultimate knowledge that we should get from Thakura is just how. Can you come back to me, actually?
Yes, I can. Okay. Eva? Same question. What is that ultimate knowledge or self-realization?
I'm not really sure, but is it like that I'm a soul and I'm not a body, and like you don't need material stuff?
Yeah, it does have to do with that. So we talked about the concept of we have our souls, and do you know what our souls ultimately come from? Or what we usually talk about where the soul ultimately comes from?
From Thakura?
Yes, I know from Thakura in certain ways that we described him. Okay, so I'm going to finish the next point. So in a lot of these songs and a lot of these things we've read, there's a word that comes up. That word is Brahman. And some of you have used that word in questions that you've asked. So I'll just start by asking, can anybody define what Brahman is? Or what your understanding of it is? Pratyush, have you heard that term Brahman?
Jai Guru, I think the definition of Brahman would be basically everything. It would be you, your house, your family, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma. Basically, I would call Brahman as everything.
Right. So Brahman is our concept of everything. And so what Eva was just talking about, how our souls and that ultimate truth of who we are, that self-realization, Aryan was talking about, that we need to know ourselves. That ultimately leads us to Chakra, and how we are connected is through that concept of Brahman. Brahman is everything, and we all ultimately come from that. And so that realization of that connection, of who we all are, is one of the ultimate goals. That is where Chakra is leading us to be able to be happy in that self-knowledge. The Brahman is...
Jai Guru?
Yeah.
This is Pratyush. So I have an example of Brahman. So Brahman, if you had a dark room, Brahman would be basically the light bulb, and everyone else would be where the light is placed.
Yes. So you have the room lit up, and it's everywhere. You can't really conceptualize it, but you can see that it's there. You know that it's there. That's a good example. So, does anybody have? I'll go through our list. Saraswati, do you have any other ways to describe what Brahman is, or who Brahman is?
Jai Guru, so Brahman, I would also describe it as the ultimate truth as well, because if you find the ultimate God, you will most likely get the ultimate truth.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's the ultimate truth. And so then, Manu, how are Chakra and this concept of Brahman related?
Chakra has attended Brahma state, Jai Guru.
So by attending that state, what do you mean by that?
Jai Guru, I mean that he has reached the highest level of spirituality, Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. So in our consciousness, he's reached that state, and he knows the ultimate knowledge. When we worship Chakra, and you'll see this in the meaning of several of the songs that we sing in Jyota Vandana, as we worship Chakra, are looking at him and his knowledge of Brahman and his existence as with all of those powers and that sort of concept. We talk about how Chakra is everywhere, just like we talk about how Brahman is everywhere. And so we equate the two. So Chakra and Brahman are related. Chakra is in that state. He knows all of that, and he is all of that. And so we think about Brahman, thinking about something like what Pratyush was talking about, that light that's everywhere, is very difficult for us because it's not something we can see, not something we can really interact with. But we know Chakra, we have Vigrahas of Chakra, we can worship Chakra. He was here in a physical body at some point. And through listening to him, through following his advice, through worshiping him, we can get closer to understanding that concept of Brahman. And he can bring that to us. Okay. Then, getting back to questions from this time, do any of you know what the concept of like how we've described the creation of the universe. Some of you older young aspirants might have been around when we talked about that the first time. But Bobby, do you know anything about how in Hinduism we talk about the creation of the universe?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay. Shilpi? Okay. Jimmy?
What is the question again?
Do you know anything about how we describe the creation of the universe?
The creation of the universe is made out of the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, where they basically they create stuff and preserve stuff and destroy stuff, and yeah, that's how I think the world is.
Yes, and so we do talk about that. That comes up a lot. This idea that there's creation, there's maintenance of what's going on in the world with Vishnu, and then there's destruction of all of that, and it goes in a cycle. So that is a concept, and then that ultimately will link back to this idea of Brahman that we just talked about, this everythingness. So, Yukta, do you know anything? Yeah, who is it?
Jaiguru, this is Pratyush. I have a question.
Yes.
Whenever you say like you said the creation of the universe, in science that would be basically the Big Bang.
Yes.
So would that basically mean like Brahma created the Big Bang?
Yes, and so actually, it's because you bring up this concept of the Big Bang. Those of you, I think, older young aspirants might have heard about that in your science classes, because the way that we talk about and we understand how Brahman created the universe is very similar. So I'll just go and say that. So like Jimmy was saying, we talk about Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, those three gods, and the creation, maintenance, and destruction, and that's one way we can think of how everything in the universe is made and exists and is destroyed, and how that's all related. But going back to this concept of Brahman, which we said we worship Hector as a manifestation of that, he knows all about that, he can give us that knowledge, and he's told us these things. So the way that we think about the creation of the universe, and we talked about it, I think, a couple of weeks back, was you have Brahman, which is this entity, sort of like when you talk about the Big Bang Theory, there is a mass of matter, of pretty much all of the things that are going to create the universe. That's just all there, it is everything. And at that point, Brahman doesn't have any quality. So if you try to describe Brahman, if you're able to describe it, if you're able to really say anything in words, that's not really what it is. It's both everything and without quality. And so Brahman existed with everything. There was nothing different. And Brahman decided, in our conception of this, Brahman decided to become many. And so Brahman became many, and so that created, everything that we know of. That's all Brahman. But to make them different, Brahman wrapped everything that we see. So me versus any of you, we're wrapped in this concept, this illusion called Maya. And so Brahman created the universe, created all of the different things by becoming many. And each of those many are differentiated by this illusion, by this Maya. So ultimately, that knowledge and realization of self, like Arya said, part of it is knowing what our duty is, what our purpose is in life, and Thakura can help guide us with that. He can help with anything. But another part of it is ultimately knowing that that's where we come from and who we are. And if we remember Thakura's Yuvani, does anybody remember, it was early on, so when he did his subject sadhana and he got the boon that he could call the Divine Mother and see her, he could call and see his wife at any point. Does anybody remember where he saw, at one point he noticed, where he saw either his wife or the Divine Mother as she was manifesting, where he saw her come from?
Jaguru, this is Pratyush.
Yes.
I think the Divine Mother came from Thakura himself. She came out of Thakura's body. Jaguru.
Yes, Jaguru, yes. So he came out of Thakura's, she came out of Thakura's body, and so that sparked his quest to figure out why was that, and so that's that ultimate truth. So that divinity, the gods, all of that, this idea of Brahman is all within us to begin with. And so it took him, and all of us have read Yuvani, we read it together. It took him he had to do all of the sadhanas, he had to spend a lot of time learning a lot of different things, working very hard to ultimately realize that. And I forget which one of you said this, it was Manu. When he reached that highest state of enlightenment, reaching what Brahman is and that full understanding, he came back and is now guiding us to all be able to realize that through various means. So then, that brings me to the question Ansh asked last time. So, Brahman created everything, created all of us, and he's within all of us, like Thakura discovered, like we've talked about. Why would he create Maya, or this illusion, when he created this universe, if that is what is keeping all of us from knowing that ultimate truth? So, why would all of us have, if Brahman created the universe to become many, why is there this illusion? Why aren't we able to know our true selves just automatically without all of this work? Yukta, any ideas?
Jaguru, it's okay to repeat the question again? I didn't actually get it.
Yeah. So you got it right. So Brahman created this universe, and ultimately inside of us, all of us are Brahman, but we don't know that. We don't feel that. We feel like we're different, and that's illusion. So why would Brahman create a universe with so much illusion where we can't remember him and we can't remember that ultimate truth? Yukta, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the solution. I'm still confused by the question.
Okay, that's fine. Nice. Any ideas?
Okay, Jaguru, this is Nitik. Here's Thakura has already set some paths for us. We just have to figure out what's good on the path and what's bad on the path.
Mm-hmm.
Like an example is like there's a goat and a tiger. If there's no tigers, the goat population will multiply. But since there's a tiger and if there's goats, it will equally balance out. Right.
So the way that Roman creator has Thakura has our world, everything is in its place, to be balanced, everything he's doing for a reason, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Same question, Ansh. You asked this question, but it's been a couple weeks. Ansh, do you have any idea why there would be illusion? And the world is the way it is?
Jaiguru, not really.
So what are the concepts? So the way that the world is and what we don't understand, as I said, right, that it is a certain way. Thakura is guiding us, and it's put in a way that ultimately things that will happen to us, happen in our lives, will happen for a reason, and we believe that. And if you put your faith in Thakura, he'll lead you through that, and you have a path to get through, and he has basically a lesson plan for all of us to figure out how to get that ultimate knowledge of ourselves and find our ultimate duty. But in the conception of why there is illusion in the first place, why we need all of this, why don't we already just know, and Thakura just gives us this knowledge, is in order for us to become many from Brahman, in order to appear different, for something to be many, if you had a vat of water, let's say, for it to look like different waters, you have to separate it out, put it in different vessels, like we have different people, and then to make it seem different, you put like food coloring or something in there, so that it all looks different, but ultimately it's all the same water. So we have this illusion, so we think that we are different concepts of self, so like I'm me, Ansh is Ansh, your parents are your parents, etc. All of this is there for us to appear different. But ultimately, if we follow Thakura's guidance, we'll find that at our base, we're the same. And so with that, all of these concepts we talked about it's a lot of information. A lot of it you've had bits and pieces of, a lot of vocabulary. That ultimate idea of finding that ultimate truth, finding our ultimate purpose, finding out ourselves is going to come up a lot. And so we'll talk about it more until it starts to make more sense. So with that, I think it's time to go to Baba Vinaya, which is Jai Guru Vinaya.
Jai Guru. Today is my birthday. As we all know, the world is going through a very difficult time with the coronavirus. I pray that everyone is doing safely. Times like this have made me realize I'm very lucky to be safe along with my family and my friends. I know that this pandemic isn't very ideal, but I know that Thakura always has a reason, and a lot of good and new realizations have come from it. I realize that I take a lot of things for granted, such as my health, safety, friends, and family. Getting to spend more time with my family and not being able to see my friends helped me see that I take both of them for granted. I know now that those things shouldn't be taken for granted, and I'm very lucky. The coronavirus is much bigger than me, and it helped show me how insignificant my problems were. Hopefully, at the end of this pandemic, people will not take their loved ones for granted as much. I really hope that we can have Swami Mani in November, because I really miss being there and seeing everybody in Thakura. Lots of things are changing in life with this virus, which can be really scary, but knowing that I have this puja every week and that I have Thakura really helps me maintain a constant in my life. I pray to Thakura that this virus goes away quickly as possible and that everyone stays safe. I'm also going into my junior year next month, which is a little scary. I have been a little stressed about this year with harder exams, AP classes, and SATs. Especially because if these classes are online, I won't be able to grasp this difficult concept as easily. I pray to Thakura to help me through this year, and I will continue to work hard. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
ପ୍ରାଣର ଠାକୁର ଭକ୍ତ ଭାଇ ମା ଓ ପିଲାମାନେ ଜୟ ଗୁରୁ। ଆଜି ମୋର ପାଳି ସେବା ଅଛି ଆଉ ଭାବ ବିନିମୟ ସେବା ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଛି। ଭାବିଥିଲି କି ଜନ୍ମୋତ୍ସବ ସହିତ ନେଇଯିବି ଆଉ ପଳେଇବି ଆସନ ମନ୍ଦିର, ସେଠି ରହିବୁ ଗୋଟେ 7 ଦିନ ପୁରା ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ସେବା କରିବୁ। ଆଉ ଯେମିତି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ଯେମିତି ଆମର ସଂଘର ଗାଇଡାନ୍ସ ଅଛି କି 7 ଦିନ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ସେବା କରିବ, ସେଇଟା ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ରୂପେ ଯେମିତି ପାଳନ ହେଇପାରିବ। କିନ୍ତୁ ମହାନ ଇଚ୍ଛା ତା ସହିତ ଏଥିରୁ ଖାପ ଖାଇଲାନି। ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ମୋର କ୍ଷୁଦ୍ର ଇଚ୍ଛା ସେଥିରେ କିଛି ତାର ମୂଲ୍ୟ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ କେବଳ ଏତିକି ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା, ତାଙ୍କରି ସଂସାରକୁ କେମିତି ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ମଣିଷ କରିପାରେ। ଏ ପୁଅଟା ବହୁତ ଡେରିରେ କଥା କହିଲା, ତ ତା ବିଷୟରେ ବହୁତ ଚିନ୍ତା ଥିଲା, ମାନେ କଥା କହିବ କି ନାହିଁ, କ'ଣ ହବ। କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ କଥା କହିଲା ପରେ ଏବେ ଆପଣମାନେ ସବୁ ଜାଣିପାରୁଥିବେ, ସେ ମାନେ ଜୟଗୁରୁଟା ବି ସେ ଠିକ୍ ସେ କହୁନି। ସେ ଏମିତି ନାହିଁ କି କଥାଟା କହୁନି, କିନ୍ତୁ କ'ଣ ହେଉଛି କି ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାକୁ when he goes into interaction mode, he replies the way he likes basically. ଯେତେବେଳେ ନର୍ମାଲି ସେ କଥା କହୁଥିବ, ତା ଆଡୁ କହୁଥିବ, then it's probably okay, like he talks normally like other kids. ସେଟା ଗୋଟେ ଚିନ୍ତା ଥିଲା। ଯାହା ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ କୃପାରୁ ସେଇଟା ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ଦୂର ହେଇଗଲାଣି। ତାର ଆଉ ଏ ପିଲାଙ୍କର କ୍ଲାସ ଚାଲିଥିଲା, ଝିଅର ତାର ସରିଲା, ସିଏ ମାନେ ରେସ୍ପନ୍ସିବଲ୍ ହେଇଗଲାଣି, ବସିକି ନିଜେ କମ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟର ଆଗରେ କ୍ଲାସ ଜଏନ୍ କରିବ। କିନ୍ତୁ ସାନ ପିଲାଙ୍କର କେମିତି ହବ ସେଇଟା ଠାକୁର ତାଙ୍କର ଠିକ୍ କରିବେ। ଇଏ ତ 5 ମିନିଟ୍ ଏକୁଟିଆ ବସୁନି, ତେଣୁ ପିଲାଙ୍କର କ'ଣ ସ୍କୁଲ ହବ, କେମିତି ହବ, ସଂସାର ତାଙ୍କର ଚିନ୍ତା ଠାକୁର କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ମୋର କିଛି କହିବାର ନାହିଁ। ଆଉ ସେଇ ଚିନ୍ତାଟା ମୋର ସବୁ ପିଲାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ଅଛି, ନେସେସାରିଲି କେବଳ ଏଇ ଗୋଟିଏ ଫ୍ୟାମିଲି। ତାପରେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ସମ୍ମିଳନୀ ଭିତରେ ଆମର ଏଠିକାର ସମ୍ମିଳନୀ, ଆମ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ପ୍ରାଦେଶିକ ସମ୍ମିଳନୀ, ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ଏ ଚିନ୍ତା। ସେଥିରେ ଆମର କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ଆମେ ଖାଲି କେବଳ ଟିକେ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା କରିପାରିବା କେମିତି ଆମର ସମ୍ମିଳନୀ ହେଇପାରୁ। ସୁଖ ସୁବିଧାରେ ତ ନ ହେଇପାରିବ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଚିନ୍ତା ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେମିତି ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଆମର ଭକ୍ତ ଭାଇ ମା ମାନେ ଯେମିତି ବର୍ଷକରେ ଥରେ ଦେଖନ୍ତି, ସେମିତି ସେ ଦେଖିପାରିବେ। ତାପରେ ଆମର ଏବେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ଜନ୍ମୋତ୍ସବ ହେଲା ପୁରୀରେ। ମୁଁ ଯାହା ଜାଣିଛି ସମୁଦାୟ ଟୋଟାଲ 10 ଜଣରୁ କମ୍ ଭକ୍ତ ଥିଲେ। ଆଉ ସେଥିରେ ଜନ୍ମୋତ୍ସବ ପାଳନ ହେଉଥିବା ବେଳେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମର ନିଗମ ସ୍ମୃତି ମନ୍ଦିରରେ ଯାଇକି ପୁଲିସ ପହଞ୍ଚିଗଲା। ଆଉ ସେ ପୁଲିସକୁ ସେଠି ବୁଝାସୁଝା କରି ପଠେଇବା ପରେ ସେଠି ଜନ୍ମୋତ୍ସବ ପାଳନ ହେଲା। ତେଣୁ ଏମିତି ଚାଲିଛି ଆମର ଏବେ ସଂସାର। ଆଉ ସେଥିରେ କିଛି ଆମର ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା ଛଡ଼ା ଅଧିକ କିଛି ଶକ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ମଣିଷର ଯୋଉ ପୌରୁଷ ଯୋଉଠି ଶେଷ ସରିଯାଏ, ସେଇଠି ଯାଇକି ଡିଭାଇନ ଇଣ୍ଟରଭେନସନ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହୁଏ। ତେଣୁ ଏଇଟା ଆମର ଗୋଟିଏ ସମୟ ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ଆମର ଠାକୁର ପ୍ରମାଣ କରିଦେଲେ କି ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା କରୁଥିଲୁ, ମନେ ମନେ ଭାବୁଥିଲେ ମିଛ କି ଆମର କିଛି ଶକ୍ତି ନାହିଁ, କିଛି ଇଏ ନାହିଁ, ସେଟା ମତେ ଲାଗୁଛି ସେଟା ସବୁ ମିଛ। ସେଟା ସେମିତି ଠାକୁର ଏମିତି ମିଛରେ କୁହାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ କୁହାଯାଇଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଏବେ ତ ସେଇଟା ଅକ୍ଷରେ ଅକ୍ଷରେ ସେଟା ପ୍ରମାଣ ହେଇଗଲା କି କ୍ଷୁଦ୍ର ମଣିଷ, ତମର କିଛି ଶକ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ଗୋଟେ ଛୁଞ୍ଚି ମୁନରେ ଥିବା ଭାଇରସ ଟାକୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ତମ ଶକ୍ତି ନାହିଁ, ତାକୁ ତମେ ଅକ୍ଷରକୁ ନେଇ ଆସିବ। ତେଣୁ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ଆମେ କେବଳ ଏତିକି ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା ଯେ ଆମକୁ କେବଳ ଏତିକି ଶକ୍ତି ଭକ୍ତି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, ଆମର ଯେମିତି ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ବିଶ୍ୱାସ, ଅଗଧ ବିଶ୍ୱାସ ସେମିତି ରହିଛୁ। ଏତିକି କହି ରଖୁଛି। ଜୟ ଗୁରୁ। ପ୍ରଣବ ଠାକୁର। ଏବେ ଆମର ପ୍ରଥମ ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ ଅଧିବେଶନ ଶେଷ ହେବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି। ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମଧ୍ୟାହ୍ନ ଭୋଗ ନିବେଦନ, ମଧ୍ୟାହ୍ନ ଭୋଗ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଏବଂ निमंत्रण करुच्ची एवं मध्याह्न भोग पर समस्त भाई माँ और पिला मध्याह्न प्रसाद पाइबा निमंत्रण करुच्ची। या सहित आपन को संध्या पूजा आज संध्या बेले विशेष प्रति संध्या पूजा करेंगे से निमंत्रण करुच्ची। जय गुरु।
Jai Guru. Good morning.
Jai Guru. I invite Shri Thakur, all the young aspirants, their parents, and other members of America's Saraswata Sangha to the next session to be held on Sunday, August 16, 2020. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Thakur Maharaj, Bhai Ma और पिला माने आसंता संघ पूजा जेमु अगस्त 16 निमंत्रण जनावि और समस्त भाई मैंने जोगदी पूजा संपन्न कर।
ठाकुर भक्त भाई और माँ मैंने आज तो गुड़ाए बड़ गोटे भूल हो जाए संघ सेवार नंबरटा कॉन्फ्रेंस नंबरटा न रही भूल जो नंबरटा रही जाता मुझे देखी पारे से अन्य जहाँ जानत अजाणत जहाँ भी बहुत त्रुटि हो जाए श्री ठाकुर समस्त भाई माँ और पिला निमंत्रण क्षमा प्रार्थना करुच्ची। अन्य सेवार अन्य समस्त भाई मान जहाँ भी बहुत त्रुटि हो जाए समस्त ठाकुर समस्त भाई माँ मान पिला निकट क्षमा प्रार्थना करुच्ची। जय गुरु।
जय गुरु। दयामय श्री चरणे एहि निवेदन दयामय श्री चरणे एहि निवेदन निरंतर सब नाम करिबि स्मरण निरंतर सब नाम करिबि स्मरण एहा छड़ा न रहिब इतर कामना एहा छड़ा न रहिब इतर कामना एहि मात्र भिक्षा मोर एतिकी प्रार्थना एहि मात्र भिक्षा मोर एतिकी प्रार्थना तुम्हें प्रभु मुहि दास एहि अहंकार तुम्हें प्रभु मुहि दास एहि अहंकार एकमात्र जीव प्रबल संसार देव एकमात्र जीव प्रबल संसार एथि लगी जेबे काले न मिले मुक्ति एथि लगी जेबे काले न मिले मुक्ति तथापि रखिबि मने अनंत त्रुपति देव तथापि रखिबि मने अनंत त्रुपति
तुमारी दृष्टि भीतरे तुमारी जगते तुमारी दृष्टि भीतरे तुमारी जगते पड़िथिबी जही तही तुमारी इंगिते देव पड़िथिबी जही तही तुमारी इंगिते ध्वंस परे रचनार अभिनव रूप ধ্বংস পরে রচনার অভিনব রূপ দেখি দেখি আসি জীব অসল স্বরূপ দেখি দেখি আসি জীব অসল স্বরূপ মিলাই ন পারে যেবে তব যন্ত্রে স্বর মিলাই ন পারে যেবে তব যন্ত্রে স্বর তব নামে বাই জীবি ভঙ্গা বিনা মোর দেব তব নামে বাই জীবি ভঙ্গা বিনা মোর শুনু বা ন শুনু কেহি শিব অহংকার শুনু বা ন শুনু কেহি শিব অহংকার তুমে প্রভু মুহি দাস এতিকি সংস্কার দেব তুমে প্রভু মুহি দাস এতিকি সংস্কার প্রেমময় শ্রী চরণে করে নিবেদন প্রেমময় শ্রী চরণে করে নিবেদন তুম জয় গাউথিবি সারা জীবন তুম জয় গাউথিবি সারা জীবন জয় গুরু 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 জয়